Hello and welcome to BrewTube. As the day is getting shorter, as the temperature is plummeting, we are going to snuggle up under the covers with this teddy beer. No, not a teddy bear, teddy beer. Tiny Rebel. That's the teddy beer I was talking about. You may have heard about this box set. What better way to warm up as the winter's coming on than with a box set of 4 cans of different porters. Let's get into it. Okay, that's better. Do like Tiny Rebel. Gone all out. I've got the hoodie and I've got the glass. 4 cans. I'm going to give my opinion on which one I think I'm probably going to like more, and then serve that one into this one, and then 3 other glasses for the other ones. First off, the box. Christmas time, younger kids, babies, they will play with this box. And me too. It's a game. Pop out the teddies on the lid, and then you've got a bit of a classic Snakes and Ladders. Fantastically well thought out. Tiny Rebel, that already gets me the thumbs up. Ruling out the first one, I'm going to say that cherry liqueur one, I don't think I'm going to be a massive fan of that one. Triple chocolate nougat marshmallow porter. This one could be good. If it's not going to be synthetic, that could be a good one. Toasted white coconut marshmallow porter. This one could be the one. Of course, if it's using the real proper coconut, there won't be much head retention on that one. Caramelized biscuit ice cream marshmallow porter. The name sounds insane. I'm not a massive advocate of all of these pastry this and pastry that, but some of them are phenomenally good. And if you don't get them too cloying, I nearly always go for coconut. So I'm going to say that the coconut is going to be my favorite, but I would thought that probably the caramelized biscuit ice cream marshmallow porter could be a very close number 2. Anyway, let's serve these up and get into it. Okay, first pour. I'm scared and I am perplexed. We've got coconut, then the caramelized biscuit, then the triple chocolate, and then the cherry liqueur. Something doesn't seem right. I hope you're enjoying the video, and if you are, please hit the like button. The porter style became very, very popular in the 1800s after and during the industrialization. It was very, very famous, very, very popular with the market porters, with the people like that. It was a darker beer, and it actually would have been smoky back in those days, because the way that the malting process was done, the maltsters were actually using open fires, so the grains would actually then take on some of that flavour profile. I am curious with that coconut porter. It doesn't have to be like black, the porters, but it is a darker beer and it does have that kind of malt bill. So I am curious to know if they've actually managed to get the dark, roasty, malty flavours in that kind of grain bill, that kind of colour beer. First up, in the Tiny Rebel glass, Sleigh Puffed Toasted White Coconut Marshmallow Porter. Now it should do what it says on the tin. Definitely very coconutty. The carbonation is a little on the fizzy side. Doesn't stay around for too long, but I would say there's a bit of like bready biscuitiness in there. But as you can see, it is a very, very light beer. It is maybe slightly cloudy, but I am very intrigued by this. I did leave all these out just to warm up a little, because these sorts of styles tend to be served at a slightly warmer temperature than a lot of your sort of lagers and IPAs. I'm not saying it's not a nice beer. The coconut is coconutty. It's not synthetic. And from the way that the head is actually dissipating, there's a good likelihood it's like sort of the proper coconut. There's definitely like sort of coconut oil in there. Basically, it's the oil which is going to like make the head drop so quickly. It's a nice beer, but it's a very light beer. Correct me if I'm wrong, please do in the comments below. That for me is not a porter. It's very toasty coconut. but not toasty as in like toasted bread. It hasn't got the bread crust, it hasn't got any sort of biscuitiness. There's none of the coffee-ishness and chocolatey, sometimes burnt flavours that you can get from the porters and these darker beers. I'm disappointed from the fact that it said it was going to be a porter, but I'm not disappointed because it's a nice beer. It has to fall down in the rankings because it's been sold as a porter. I feel that should then be a much darker beer. So on to number 2, caramelised biscuit ice cream marshmallow porter. That's got the colour of a porter. Very spicy. I would say some sort of more like cumin, turmeric. Yeah, it's got the coffee-ishness, it is very spiced. Slightly burnt coffee, and then the chocolate comes through. So already quite well layered. You've got your spice, then the coffee, and then the chocolate, interestingly. It is quite spiced, and it's more on a sort of turmeric, cumin, not a kind of spice. I wouldn't have gone with, like, you know, cinnamon and vanilla, if that's a spice. Those sorts of more like traditional spices, I think that in the West we would be using in baking, in biscuits. Got a little bit of sweetness, doesn't finish particularly bitter. It's not drying like the stouts are, not particularly biscuity. There are malts that will give you that kind of biscuit flavour. This one doesn't have it for the moment. Doesn't mean I won't go back and try this after a little bit just to see. Don't want to get the old palate fatigue. It is still a nice beer. It's definitely more of a porter than the first one, definitely. Those spiced notes, the turmeric and the cumin, are quite lingering. They're obviously there straight away on the nose. They're on the palate and they kind of stay there as well. Obviously these come in 330 cans, so they're fairly small cans. It would probably be fine to have that. You wouldn't want, I don't think, a pint of that. You probably wouldn't want a 440 can of that. If you were splitting it between friends, and yeah, absolutely. That spice, it certainly does stick around. Sacrilege, I know, but I need to have a bit of water in me. I think that that spiciness, yeah, would have become very overpowering, and it could then like sort of dominate whatever else you're going to be tasting. So now on to the triple chocolate nougat marshmallow porter. To me, already it starts to smell a little bit synthetic. I've noticed a lot of the ones now which are pertaining to be chocolate, in actual fact maybe using a syrup which has that more like synthetic, artificial kind of already aroma, but then also flavour. Certainly does smell sweet, but a bit of chocolate coming through. A little bit disappointing. Again, the carbonation, very fizzy. You might be able to actually hear it up against my mic. It's almost like you poured out a soda. Agitating it, you don't get any other real flavours. There's yeah, definitely that sort of synthetic-y chocolate and then sweetness. Then there's a bit more of like a natural chocolate bitterness, like sort of cacao nibs, very sort of dark chocolate. It is nice, but again, that synthetic chocolatiness, not a big fan. I hope you're enjoying this video, and if you are really enjoying this video, hit the subscribe button. Right, down to the last one. Can the cherry liqueur marshmallow porter pull this out of the fire? Because for the moment, the beers have been just a tad disappointing. The first one, the toasted coconut marshmallow porter, was pale. The second one, quite spiced. The caramelized biscuit one. The third one, the triple chocolate nougat, was quite sort of synthetic-y and a bit artificial. Here goes. Now, to be honest, it's already got a very sort of tart, sour cherry aroma to it. Maybe a little bit of something else in the background. I don't know if it's chocolate. Yeah, to be honest, it's like a sort of sherbety cherry sort of aroma. I'll just go straight in. It's interesting. It doesn't taste at all like how it smells. You're expecting there to be a bit more like of a tart, sour cherryness, and that you don't get. I've had to take a few swigs because in fact every single time it's kind of changing on my palate. Bit of the sweet cherry, then it goes a bit dusty and musty, and it then finishes off a kind of like a bitter sweet. It's interesting. It's not what I thought it was going to be. When they say cherry liqueur, you can imagine it's going to have all these like nasty fusels and it might taste more like almond than cherry. There is that cherry flavour there. It's not an artificial cherry, fun enough for me. It doesn't taste like it's an artificial cherry, but the flavours yet again, not particularly porter. I'd love to have a bit more of the toasty, roasty, chocolate, coffee-ishness all coming through. There's not that kind of backbone. I don't know whether they've just done like, you know, a single batch and then like sort of maybe flavoured it in a dry hop or anything else like that. I don't know how they did it. But to be fair, this 4-pack is only £13. The packaging's amazing, it's got the game, they've put some thought into this. Some of the celebratory packs which have been coming out for people's 5th year, for example, and other stuff, you know, £45 for 5 beers and a glass. There could be some great beers out there. There might be a triple IPA, for instance, naming no names. It's almost like a tenner a can. This is on the cheaper end. They've got some interesting flavours in there, and they're still fairly challenging to drink. So, you know, if you can still get your hands on them, maybe give it a go. Everyone's taste is different, and the perceptions of flavour is different. Some people may find these absolutely amazing. Some people maybe haven't really drunk that many porters before, and this could be a fun way of trying some of these beers. Got the game. That could make things interesting, you know, turn that game into a drinking game. But whatever you do, enjoy your alcohol responsibly. This time round, the 4 marshmallow porters, not really what I was expecting. I hope they're doing well. We want to be supporting our local tap rooms and bottle shops, so especially over the festive season, go there and try some of them out. I say turmeric. Do you say turmeric? Okay, that's your lot. I hope you enjoyed this video, and whatever you do, come back and watch more of our content. See you again soon.